Have you ever loved someone so deeply that their betrayal didn't just break your heart, it shattered your entire sense of reality? That's what happened to Ethan Cole. Ethan wasn't loud about love. He wasn't the kind of man who posted long captions or made grand romantic gestures for attention. He believed love lived in the quiet things: the coffee waiting on the counter before sunrise, the note tucked under a lunchbox, the kiss on the forehead before heading out the door. Every morning, before leaving for work, he'd make breakfast for his wife, Jessica. 2 slices of toast, scrambled eggs, and her favorite black coffee with a splash of vanilla creamer. He'd always set her mug near the window where she liked to sit. To everyone else, they were the dream couple. 5 years of marriage, a cozy home in the suburbs outside Seattle, a rescue dog named Cooper, and a love story people called relationship goals. But perfection, Ethan would later realize, is often just the quiet before the storm. It started with little things so small that he ignored them. Jessica stopped waiting for him for dinner. Her phone was always face down, locked, and silent. The late nights at work became team dinners. And that laugh, the one that used to light up their house, it didn't sound the same anymore. At first, he told himself he was being paranoid. Maybe she's just stressed, he'd whisper, lying awake at night, watching the faint glow of her phone in the dark. But deep down, he knew. Every instinct screamed it. The woman he loved was slipping away. A man can sense when love turns cold, even if the person beside him pretends everything's fine. Then came the night that changed everything. It was raining hard, the kind of Pacific Northwest rain that never really stops. He left work early to surprise her. He even picked up Thai takeout from her favorite place, the one she used to drag him to every Friday. When he pulled into the driveway, the house was dark except for a faint light coming from the living room. The door wasn't locked. The moment he stepped inside, he knew something was wrong. There was perfume in the air, not hers. Then he heard it. A laugh. A man's laugh. He froze. His hands trembled. And then, slowly, he walked toward the sound. There she was, Jessica, sitting on the couch, her hand resting on another man's knee, laughing like the world hadn't heard her once. When she noticed him, the color drained from her face. The air grew heavy. "Ethan," she whispered, but the words fell apart in her throat. He didn't yell, didn't cry, didn't break anything. He just stared at her, really stared, and then quietly walked out the front door into the rain. That night, standing under the flickering streetlight, soaked and broken, Ethan made himself a silent promise. He wouldn't destroy her. He wouldn't humiliate her. He wouldn't let bitterness consume him. No. He'd do something far more powerful. He would let time be his weapon, and patience his revenge. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Jessica moved out, saying she needed space. Ethan didn't argue. He didn't ask where she was going. He simply nodded and handed her the suitcase. Everyone around him thought he'd spiral. Friends invited him out for beers, trying to help him move on. His sister told him to take time off work. But he didn't. He just kept going. He started waking up earlier, hitting the gym, taking long drives to nowhere, blasting music loud enough to drown out the silence. He threw himself into his work as an architect, the one place he still felt in control. He picked up old hobbies again: painting, reading, hiking, and little by little, the pain that once consumed him began to turn into something else: discipline. He realized something most people never do. The best revenge isn't payback. It's evolution. Meanwhile, Jessica's new relationship, the one she had risked everything for, started to crumble. The man she left Ethan for wasn't who she thought he was. He was controlling, selfish, and cold. The excitement faded fast. And every time she saw Ethan's name pop up on LinkedIn, new promotion, new project, new award, it hit her like a knife. He was moving on. Quietly. Powerfully. Within a year, Ethan's small firm got a major break. A design he'd been working on for years was picked by a global real estate group. Suddenly, he was flying to New York for meetings, appearing in magazines, and speaking at architecture expos. His patience was paying off. Then one evening, fate brought her back. He was at a corporate gala in downtown Seattle. She was there too, invited by mutual friends. When she saw him across the room, her breath caught. He looked different. Sharper. More confident. The same calm eyes, but something stronger behind them, something unshakable. And when their eyes met, she knew. He didn't need her anymore. He had become everything she once said he couldn't be. A few weeks later, Jessica reached out. Texts at first. Then calls. He ignored them. But one message made him stop scrolling. "Ethan, I made the worst mistake of my life. I lost something I'll never get back. Your trust." He stared at the screen for a while, then typed back just one line. "Mistakes have prices, Jess. Some take a lifetime to pay." When they finally met, she was a mess. Nervous, shaky hands, eyes red from crying. They sat at the same cafe where they used to spend Sunday mornings. "I don't even know where to start," she whispered. "Start wherever you lost your honesty," he said calmly. She told him everything. How the affair started. How she thought she was unhappy. How the new man turned out to be cruel. How she'd been haunted by guilt ever since. Ethan didn't interrupt. He didn't scold. He just listened, and the silence was heavier than any words could have been. Finally, he said, "You know what hurt the most? It wasn't the cheating. It was realizing you never thought I'd find out. You thought I loved you so blindly that you could lie to me forever." She reached across the table for his hand. He pulled it back. "I'm not the man you betrayed," he said quietly. "That man, the one who would have forgiven you no matter what, he's gone." She started to cry, but he stood up. "Take care, Jessica," and walked away. Just like that night. Only this time, she knew he'd never turn back. And that realization, the understanding that she had lost him for good, was the beginning of her punishment. Ethan didn't plot revenge. He didn't need to. His revenge was patience. He focused on growth, mind, body, and soul. He started mentoring young architects, teaching them how to turn pain into progress. His firm expanded internationally. He was featured in design magazines, podcasts, and conferences. And Jessica saw it all. Through mutual friends, through articles shared online, through the whispers that followed his name. Every new success of his was a reminder of her mistake. One afternoon, she showed up at his office unannounced. She stood at the door, holding a framed photo of them from years ago, smiling, young, and naive. "I just wanted to say, I'm proud of you," she said softly. He smiled politely. "You should be proud of yourself too," he said. "You taught me how powerful silence can be." There was no anger in his voice. Just calm. Just peace. And that peace broke her more than any harsh word ever could. Because the worst punishment for a betrayer isn't hatred, it's being forgotten by the person they hurt. Months later, they crossed paths again, this time at a charity event in Chicago. Jessica had moved there for work, trying to rebuild her life. Ethan was the keynote speaker at the event, being honored for his contributions to urban housing projects. When she saw him walk on stage, confident and composed, her heart ached. People stood up to applaud him, not for his success, but for his kindness. After the event, she approached him quietly. "You've changed," she said, her voice trembling. He looked at her, his expression soft but steady. "No," he said. "I just stopped letting pain define me." Her eyes filled with tears. "I don't deserve forgiveness." He gave a faint smile. "Maybe not from me. But life has a way of teaching balance." And then, like every time before, he turned and walked away. But this time, she didn't follow. She didn't call after him. Because she finally understood, revenge isn't always about payback. Sometimes, it's about rising so high that the person who hurt you can only watch from below. Years later, people still told Ethan's story, not because he took revenge, but because he didn't. Because he chose patience over rage, growth over bitterness, peace over pain. Jessica eventually left the city. No one knew where she went. But every once in a while, Ethan would find an old photo tucked inside a drawer, her smile frozen in time, and he'd feel nothing but quiet gratitude. Because sometimes, the most powerful revenge isn't destruction. It's transformation. It's proving that the one who hurt you no longer controls your happiness. And that's what true strength looks like. Not anger, not pride, but peace. Revenge can burn bridges. But patience builds empires. So when someone betrays you, don't let it turn you cruel. Let it turn you unstoppable.